Let's go back in history and kind of look at the record. In the year of 1920, an agricultural high school was formed here on the site of the college on the Fulton campus. Now, throughout the state, there were a number of agricultural high schools that were situated in locations. For this reason, there were generally anywhere from 50 to 100 little one-room schools that had grades 1 through 8 in it. And generally in the 1920s, in the rural South, where transportation was very sparse, very few roads, lots of creeks and hills and things like that, and people didn't have transportation to a high school. Back then, going to high school was like going to college today.
That's right.
And so here on the hill in Fulton, the agricultural high school was established. And of necessity, it had to be a boarding school, so that's where the dormitories started, where the residential housing started. And from that, from 1920 until 1941, the concept of a agricultural high school boarding, there was land in the bottom where there was a dairy farm, where was cattle farm. They raised their own gardens and crops. They had poultry, they had chickens, and it was sort of self-sufficient, as I understand it, in terms of food service. And then in 1941, the trustees extended the high school curriculum to include college and freshman and sophomore work. But about that time, World War II interrupted. And all these things were abandoned because the young men in the region joined the Army, the Navy, or whatever branch of service and went off to fight the war. So after the war was over in 1948 is when Etowah Community College was formed. At that time, Etowah Junior College. And it remained that way until the late 1980s. The record shows that the trustees at the time in the county put up $55,000 to match a WPA grant to establish IJC at that time. And it involved Etowah, Monroe, and Lee counties, and they agreed to form the district. And in the freshman class in 1948 had 114 in it. The first graduates were in 1950, and if you want to see the composite picture of the first class of 1950, that original composite class picture is on the wall in the lobby of the Student Services Building here on the Fulton campus. And along with that first class, there was 170 veterans that had returned from World War II, and they were enrolled in vocational, technical, and career classes. And that is the meager origins of the college at that time. Today we have over 8,000 students enrolled. There's a $150 million budget, and the college has 3 campuses in Fulton, East, Tupelo, and Belden, with wind job centers in Chickasaw, Pontotoc, and Monroe counties. And it was 1987 that the college changed its name from junior college to community college to better reflect its mission. And I think I'll get Mr. Miles, if he would, to comment on the four presidents up to this date, especially on the founding president, who was a visionary, a forward-thinking man whose family has deep roots in this county.
Well, the individual you're talking about was Philip A. Sherfield, and he died at a premature age of a heart attack, and many of us thought that his drive toward this institution was perhaps part of the reason that he might have had that fatal heart attack back at that time. But he was a visionary, and I've heard members of his family say that when they would have Sunday afternoon family get-togethers, that all Philip wanted to talk about was his college and how he was going to start the college. And when he became the first president. Of course, that was an outgrowth of the agricultural high school. He was head of the agricultural high school as well as the junior college. John Crewball was enlisted as the academic dean. And I've often said that while Mr. Sheffield was out trying to find money to run the institution, John Crewball was the one that was providing the academics that led Etowah to become a member of the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools upon its first application, the first time it was eligible to apply, which was a very much of a benefit to those of us who were looking at coming through the two-year institution and then going on to a four-year senior college, because our work would be fully accepted and accredited at the other institutions. When Mr. Sheffield passed away from a heart attack, Dean Crewball became the president. And he continued as president. I don't recall the year that he retired, but Dr. W.O. Benjamin followed. And Dr. Benjamin brought a unique talent to the institution of having been involved at that time with securing federal grants, federal funds for school in the Mississippi Delta. And he used that expertise to get a number of needed buildings and replace a number of those buildings you were talking about that were still being used, that had been moved here from Camp McCain and had been built by those veterans who were taking carpentry classes and that sort of thing. A side note that I might mention in regard to those veterans, it's been said that one of the reasons that Jesco, J. Staub and Company, became one of the South's largest builders, contractors, was because of the people who had come through the building trades program here at IJC at that time. And of course, a great day when Dr. Benjamin retired from here was when you came in, 1993, and each of the presidents brought a unique talent to the school. From Mr. Sheffield being the visionary one that saw the possibilities. Dean Crewball, as many of us still called him while he was president, with the academics. Then Dr. Benjamin expanded and was the president when the vocational facility was built in Tupelo. And just look what has happened then under your tenure and what is still out in front. Especially with the proposed, under contract, as a matter of fact, Allied Health Sciences building that's to be constructed in Tupelo to house the 8 Allied Health programs that the institution offers here.
As we move on into more modern times, the college has been able to get the support. We had Chickasaw County to come in as the 5th county. And about the 1970s when Dr. Benjamin was here. And so we have 5 counties that support the college with maximum millage levy, which is one of those things that we're the only college in the state that enjoys that kind of support. And then brought on the tuition guarantee program so that any high school graduate coming out of a high school in our 5-county area is guaranteed tuition at the college. And in Monroe County, it's any citizen, thanks to the support from the Gilmore Foundation in Monroe County. So that's why a lot of the groundwork that has been laid over the last 64 years is making Etowah Community College one of the premier colleges in the South that has a lot of amenities, beautiful buildings and grounds. We can afford that because of the support we receive from our sister governmental institutions, great faculty and staff, premier housing. All of these things contribute to the over 8,000 students who are accessing the college during the day, in the evening, at night, online, year-round.